and Ryan, and we know that you're dying to hear what we have to say today. I say we hear what we have to say today. It's the blank. Fill it in. Fill it in. Fill it in. Yeah.
Recording in progress, Carlos.
So it says.
We keep hearing that.
Well, it's the program we use.
Fuck.
Do you want to use a new program? You gotta put in the bills. You know what I'm saying?
Man, fuck bills. Yo, anti-work. Reddit.
Didn't that dumbass look stupid on Fox News? Anyways. Oh, we're starting.
Oh, we started.
Young world. I am Carlos.
And I'm Ryan.
Who cares? And welcome to the blank with Carlos and Ryan. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do so.
I'm just kidding.
It's just been a long day.
That's right, man.
I'm tired. You know, long work was it's the same old. But you know what? I made it. I'm here. For you, for all of you. Because entertaining is what we do. And also providing knowledge, perspective, and above all else, happy Chinese New Year.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I almost forgot to bring that up, man. But happy fucking Thursday, everybody.
Yeah.
I feel super weird without my glasses. I'll be honest with you. But
you should feel weird with that dumbass hat. Their season's over. Let's get it, Cincinnati. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. Good luck.
Too soon.
Good luck.
Too soon.
But happy Thursday, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm super glad that you happen to be tuning in with us. The crazy thing is, like, man, me and Carlos have been trying so many different things. We spent about an hour before this episode just trying to figure out audio and how it's working, and it's been a journey in itself, and we're still working at it, but
progress, baby steps.
We're definitely happy that you're back in for another episode. And
yeah,
I think this episode I'm actually pretty excited about. I think that I brought up the topic because I think it's a lot of our friends that we happen to kind of grow up with, I guess. But I just think that a lot of people can relate, and even for the women that happen to be listening to this episode, I think
you can learn a thing about or two, because I mean, the moral of the thing, because we're going to talk about manhood, basically, what it like growing up as men, but the moral of the episode is boys rule, girls drool, and girls have cooties. I still believe that to this day. So if you know what, that's all I'm saying. So
who's from Mars and who's from...
Women are from Mars.
Women are from Mars. Got it.
Yeah, they all speak like those Mars Attacks aliens.
The big ass.
Yeah, with the big ass brain. Because they all think they have brains and shit. But no.
Oh, they definitely do.
What is that supposed to imply?
They got big brains.
Whoa. If you're gonna, imply about fellatio on this show,
no,
we don't do that here.
Not at all.
This is for the kids. This is for the kids.
All right.
For the children.
All right.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that, folks. Because you clearly see this is a PG poster. It's called the blank, not the
backdoor
/9. Anyways, yeah, go ahead and thank people for joining this episode this week.
Well, I am, thankful, and I think I said this already, Carlos, but thank you for joining for another week. The topic itself is definitely going to be something interesting. I think that is something that Carlos and I both probably struggle with till this day, and I think that any of the male listeners also probably struggle with it.
Marijuana.
female listeners that happen to be listening, you can actually get some sort of like an insight into exactly what our thoughts are and what we're thinking as we're growing up kind of thing and just our experiences with it. But I think the first thing I do want to get into is definitely current events. I feel
recent news.
There's definitely quite a bit that I feel happened in this last week.
You think so?
Maybe not that much. I think the first thing I did want to say was, shout out to Canada. We beat El Salvador in soccer for the World Cup.
Although the game almost didn't happen because they wanted the moolah, but they came through, scored one of the most strangest goals I've seen, but they did it 2-0. Good for y'all. We're probably gonna make it in, or did we make it into the World Cup?
I think it's like something there's left, but there's still almost like a sure bet that we're pretty much gonna make it in. And like I think my whole lifetime, or our whole lifetime, I haven't seen Canada
in a World Cup.
I don't remember.
I don't recall it.
Yeah, they could have been throughout since 1992, but I just don't ever recall it at any point in time. So definitely a huge thing for us. Yes. I'm excited for that. Definitely.
So it just goes to show you that this time around, it's actual talent that gets you to the World Cup and not corruption and drug money. I went there, FIFA. You want to fight me? Go ahead, fuckers. I want all the smoke, bitch. Anyways, but yeah, congrats, Canada. You did it. Job well done.
Definitely.
Yeah. CNN president.
CNN president, man.
I chuckled when I heard the news. That was funny to me. For those of you who don't know, the world knows about CNN. We don't have to explain what CNN is. Cable news network. Homeboy, or the president of CNN, stepped down because he was piping the chief marketing officer on the side. I believe both are because the president was he wasn't married, but he was seeing someone. And I believe the female counterpart that he was sleeping with was married.
Wow.
And he's like, inappropriate. So he's like, here's the deal, y'all. I was, giving the chief marketing officer back shots a few times. I gotta be honest with y'all. And I gotta bounce from this position. So good luck to the next person. Wouldn't it be funny if they gave it to the girl?
They gave it to her?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be wild.
That'd be pretty insane.
Good for her.
Yeah, right? Goes to show you, for all you people out there trying to make it big, fuck your boss.
Yeah.
But no, just please don't do that. But other than that, crazy story. Was it worth to tell people about and then quit? Yeah. I don't get why that you have to quit over it.
I get the whole impact of it because CNN's huge.
It's entertainment. Well, it's entertainment at the end of the day, and they provide cover. So but at the same time, it's
I'm sure it's common in big corporations, man. I would think
even if they're not on TV and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's super common. I've heard a good amount of stories of the CEOs of startups smashing some of the young interns that come in and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just it's a stigma or a known thing in movies and stuff like that. But it's only in movies because it actually happens.
Well, because I guess technically speaking, he is the boss. So he could provide
yeah, it's kind of like that. It's you can move your way up and do this and that and kind of thing.
True.
I've heard of organizations where people just they sleep around within the organization and stuff like that. I don't know necessarily to move up in the organization but you usually sleep with the higher up or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think it's common. I think it's just funny because CNN is such a
breaking news.
Breaking news, liberal
and then
news.
They have to break that. Did they even break their own news?
I don't know. That'd be pretty funny though.
The anchor just legit just finding out his boss quit. In breaking news today, Jeff Zucker has resigned because he was having sexual intercourse with the chief What the fuck? Are you serious? Whoa.
Reading it off the teleprompter.
Holy shit, really? Wow. Oh my God. Jeff. But that would Jeff, more power to you. At least you fucked your way out. You got what you wanted. and you left happy.
Fucked
know
your
what I
way
mean?
out. I
Yeah,
think
man.
taking notes from Bill Clinton.
Well, hey, man, you gotta enjoy the job when you can. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a bit for Mr. Bill Clinton and Jeff Zucker. You know what? The one thing that makes them happy to come to work, and they take it away from them. The one thing. I don't know, man. Either or. Whoopi Goldberg got suspended.
Yeah.
For comments made. Here's the deal. I'm gonna, paraphrase what she said. She basically said that, in her opinion, that the Holocaust was not necessarily about race, where people disagreed with her. Most people thought that she was wrong, and due to the, I guess, backlash, I didn't see too much, but due to the backlash, ABC decided to suspend Whoopi from her position at The View for 2 weeks. My honest opinion, I don't think she deserved it, because from what I saw in the video and what they were talking about, there was no malicious intent. I don't feel like, it came across as racist. I just felt that, she might have been wrong in the, in her quote, but I don't think she deserved to be suspended. And to be fair, and like, how can it be? Her last name is Goldberg. How can it be racist? Guys, all you guys now, if anything, you viewers who wanted this are racist because she's a Black woman with a Jewish last name. Shame on you. Shame on you. I went there. I don't care. That's my take. Go ahead.
It was definitely an odd situation, but I think with daytime television, I don't know, man.
Did she deserve 2 weeks suspension over it?
I don't know. I can only see why they gave her the suspension, because I'm sure that
because it wasn't a good look.
It's definitely not a good look, and I'm sure that the higher ups of what is it, ABC?
Mm-hmm.
Is it ABC? Is
the ABC? Yeah.
I'm sure there's higher up people that are Jewish in ABC, and they're probably like, "Yo, man, we can't just let."
But in Disney though, because Disney owns ABC.
Well, I'm sure there's probably a Jewish dude on the board of directors on Disney.
If Walt Disney was alive today and he saw that, he'd be like, "Ha, she's got a point." You know what I mean? Walt Disney, again, I'm saying this again, extremely racist to Jewish people. Extremely. He would not care. Do you think a Jewish person would work in Disney if he was alive today? No, absolutely not. But here's my thing. Yeah, again, no malicious intent. I don't think she deserves. I think that they should bring someone onto the show to educate her on why it was raped.
Yeah,
it's called The View. You're discussing your opinions on. It's The View. It's your viewpoint on topics that they talk about.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
We just
but just saying, it's your opinion. If your feelings are hurt, apologize and move on.
Yeah.
But no malicious intent.
There's a certain amount of sensitive topics that I think that daytime television or realistically anybody in the spotlight just can't talk about. I think it's just one of those things. And unfortunately, when they started talking about that topic, I think overall it was about a book being banned in schools or something like that. But just to get on that topic overall is just a sensitive topic to talk about in North America, pretty much around the world, I would say, realistically. So tough for Whoopi. Definitely, I know that she came out and apologized, and she said that she's going to be taking the time to kind of re-educate herself about it and learn more and do what she can. I'm sure that she has tons of Jewish fans.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. So one of those rough things, but we did want to just bring it up because it is
her
funny.
co-workers were very apparently pissed off that she got suspended as well, because she didn't deserve it.
Didn't deserve it. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that ABC, the higher ups were just like, "Yo, okay,
this is not a good look. She needs to be punished.
She needs to be punished just to ensure kind of thing.
You know what I mean? That we don't tolerate stuff like that. But I mean, I
don't really think that the Jewish community would come out and fucking just start going ham on her, boycotting
over
her,
something like this.
No,
not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But hey, it is what it is. It happened. I guess we gotta learn from it and move on. Other than celebrity news, turns out Rihanna's really pregnant.
I almost forgot about that. That was huge.
Fuck.
Huge.
Fuck.
Go ASAP,
Fuck.
man.
Fuck that.
Go ASAP.
Fuck that dude.
That guy, there's so many envious people of that dude right
Oh,
now, man.
bro.
So
Almost
many.
half the population. Bro.
So
what are you
many
kidding?
like memes and Twitter things about them.
Oh
like,
my god. Fucking
funny.
bro, Drake is probably recording like the best album ever made right now. The album's gonna slap.
Yeah.
If you thought Take Care was something or Nothing Was the Same, huh? This album? Shit. Chris Brown? Fuck.
Chris Breezy, man.
Chris Breezy. Oh shit, man.
I don't even want to talk about that.
Why? Why not? You should
That
not.
was
But we are not the
quite-
View.
Quite violent.
We are not the View here. But it's manhood today. Today we're gonna talk about why. What? I'm not saying that's a type of man you want, but
I fucking
you know what?
hope-
You know what? Fucking I don't know, bro. You know what's funny? I was watching this video of a girl. She was being interviewed. She's like, "What type of man you like?" It's like, "Oh, I love me the roughneck type. I love me a man that like, cause I can be a bit stubborn. I'm like a boss ass bitch, right? So I can just go ahead and like fucking ignore my man and shit. But like he needs to really grab my attention. Like he needs to grab me by the shoulders, be like, bitch, what's wrong with you? And then I'm like, yo, it turns me on when my man does that. So I need me a man like that. There are women like
Oh,
that.
yeah, of course.
Rihanna
It's a spectrum.
Rihanna might
It's a
be
spectrum. There's somebody for everybody.
right. So when that incident happened between Chris and Rihanna, that might not have been the first time. Just saying.
Yeah. He's had the wrong lady.
Yeah, just like maybe he hit a haymaker with too many times that night. Just saying. Who knows though? Behind the scenes, we don't know. We don't know. But there's that. What's her name? Eric O'Toole?
Aaron O'Toole.
Aaron O'Toole.
Aaron O'Toole.
Okay, it's ERIN. All right. For all our non-Canadian motherfuckers out there, Aaron O'Toole was the leader of the Conservatives. So that's basically Republicans in Canada. He was ousted or was forced to resign by vote of the Conservative team due to apparently he was taking money from the Conservative Party and using it to pay for his kids'
Was
private
that
school.
what it was?
Apparently, that's what I'm hearing.
Oh, because
And there was other shit too, because apparently him giving Trudeau shit about the trucker thing was also a big deal as well. But yeah, I don't know. That's hearsay. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I'm hearing.
The Conservative Party currently in Canada is a fucking mess. And then
You think so?
Well, I think like to oust your leader, the guy wasn't even in power for like 14,
Not even long. No.
14 months
No.
or something like that.
No.
He loses to Trudeau and then
Yeah.
they kick his ass out.
Yeah.
But now that they're bringing in the temporary Conservative leader, which happens to be a Trump lover.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, man, what is going on? But I think that's why the Conservative Party happened to bring her in, because the people I think that voted her in or voted her as like the interim leader are really far right wing politicians in Canada. And I think that they agree with a lot of the stuff that far right wing politics happens to be. So I think maybe she's the one to win it. Maybe they reelect her, and I heard that they're not going to reelect another like official leader for at least another 6 months.
Fuck yeah.
So
Let's do it. Conservative stand up, baby.
Yeah.
Woo woo!
But Aaron, man, you need to fucking do something.
You goofed up,
You
sir.
goofed, man.
You goofed up.
You could have ran again and maybe tried to win, but you didn't do it.
In wrestling news, the most important news, in my opinion, Vince McMahon fired his son this week. Wow.
And for those who don't know who Vince McMahon is,
You're a fucking pussy!
I can't even say anything about WWE or WWF.
Well, I don't pay attention too much as often these days, but when this came up, I figured, and considering what this week is, you know what I mean? It goes to shit, you know what, like
WrestleMania.
You know what I mean? Just firing your own son. Wow.
Gotta do
Think
it
about the
sometime.
manhood that Shane would have to go. That's emasculating for men.
You got to do it, man.
You have to.
Hey, if your son's, disrespecting the business,
Your son,
the guy can't be part of the business.
but
man.
he's been there for practically almost all of his life.
That's true. That is true.
And like, you let him go?
It's pretty wild
That is insane.
how deep of a history wrestling has, and like the dramatics that comes with it, and like it's still an ongoing thing, and I'm sure it makes billions of dollars still, right?
Yeah.
Like
Vince is a billionaire to this day.
yeah, absolutely wild. I just don't have much to say about the WWE. I'll be honest with you. It's like
not many do. I just hiccuped. I don't care. Tom Brady officially retired this week.
that is huge.
Big.
Huge.
The greatest of all time, arguably, has officially declared retirement via Instagram, announcing his retirement, thanking his former team, the Bucks, thanking his wife and children, and he will now walk off into the sunset as the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah. Tom Brady's fucking historic.
It's
guy's
thing to
like-
see. You love to hate him though, because he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
so good. I
hate
remember that the Atlanta and Boston,
yeah.
New England game for
Yeah.
the Super Bowl. That was legit a movie.
Yeah.
There was like they were down, and Tom Brady just went sicko mode.
One of the biggest comebacks.
Oh my! It has to be
the
the
biggest comeback in a Super Bowl.
Like, it was insane. Do you remember watching that at the bar and just
No,
like watching
I do.
like what the fucking
remember
fuck?
that.
How does one person be capable of insane? He went off. They
Tom
were
Brady.
not gonna win, and then they just fucking go out and then the Deflategate situation goes to show you that he's a bitch ass. So I'm just saying, I have to bring it up. You know what I mean? You have to bring up the good and the bad. But all in all, Mr. Brady, bullshit aside, if you ever see this in the future, your wife is hot, and congratulations on a success. I'd say a very successful career. You will go down as the best. You will be an inspiration to multiple people. Like, he wasn't even drafted for like in that first group. What was it? Like the 6th group?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
He's like one of the most underrated football players of all time.
Oh, he has to be probably the most considering.
Yeah, I think it was funny because there's a story that goes around with him, and I don't want to talk too much about Tom Brady, but when he got signed to New England as a rookie, he went up to Robert Kraft and's like, Robert or Mr. Kraft, I'm going to guarantee you that this is the best decision you've ever made in your life by signing him. And then now, in retrospect, I think it's like 20 years he's been in the league. If you look at him, he's considered the top player of probably our lifetime, I would think.
I know, 100%.
Like
100%.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's a sad day when that era is gonna end. And I obviously have my beef with Tom Brady because he's beat on the Colts for so many years, but you can't deny the GOAT. So
who the fuck hasn't beat on the Colts?
Congratulations, Tom.
Yeah, congrats, Tom. More power to you. Thumbs up. Other than that, I'm good.
We're gonna jump right into the topic.
Let's do it. Manhood.
So give me the definition.
Your penis. It's your penis. Manhood basically is, the bigger you are, the more confident you that's all. That's manhood. I think we're good for the episode.
Slanging.
Slanging. Oh, you're slanging, sir. That's some manhood. You got some manhood right there, buddy. Oh, pal. That's it.
You slanging.
Yeah. That's all. No. Manhood. I feel like this is probably going to be the most misogynistic episode we've shot to date.
Really?
Going into this,
I think it's just like it's an interesting topic to talk about. Like for me and you coming as and being born males.
Cisgender males.
And in this case, it's kind of like what I really wanted to get into is like, what we think of it, what we would define it as, has it changed over time, things like that. I think that talking about it now at this age in like the world that we live in comparison to what we thought it was like in high school or like you know in our early 20s and like what it meant to be a man and like our expectations of being a man in today's society and like even like the things for our future. It's like, oh, are you supposed to have kids and be a breadwinner and drive a nice car and fucking go buy a nice car and have a midlife crisis and date a 20-year-old when you're 50 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. I think that's the really cool aspect of like what expectations that we have for ourselves now as like males, especially in this world. And now that it seems like we're slowly, sometimes unfortunately, going a little bit more liberal and a little bit more like open to certain ideas and certain aspects, it's like this manhood change.
Do you really think that we're going into that?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I think overall that that narrative of the man of the house and the lady is the what do you call the lady in this situation? That's the person who you take care of. You're taking care of, the man of it's the man of the house versus, the lady and the children and the blah, blah, blah. I think that narrative is still very much relevant to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Majority, 100%. Yeah. I think in North America, it's more liberal.
Yeah.
More meaning Canada and the US. But I think outside of that is very much.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think
I'm the man. I will pay the bills. I will do the work. Lady, you stay home and cook. Children, you go to school. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that majority of the world still have like that mindset of like that's how the family works, whether it's like, the 4-person or the nuclear, I think that's what they used to call it, or the atomic family, where it was just like the mom, dad, son, daughter. That was kind of like the perfect looking family, and then the dad's the breadwinner, and then the mother's the housewife kind of thing, like what you expect from like 60s fucking daytime television kind of shit. And I agree with you. I think the majority of the world is still like that, but I think because you and I have both grown up on like North America and how it's sort of like opening itself slowly, and like things like gender roles are getting questioned, and what people can do. Like everyone knows I'm a huge Reddit fan, but I've been seeing a lot more posts of guys being like, yeah, my wife makes 2 times as much as me, and I'm the person that kind of just brings in the extra cash in relation to like salary and stuff like that. So I think that in overall aspect, like it is sort of opening up, at least in our age, and we're seeing it a little bit more because we do happen to fall under this like geographic location in the world kind of thing.
Well, it's because he's a pussy and he doesn't get off the couch and fucking get a goddamn job, and then he'll have to make too much more than her. I mean, I don't know, because I feel like growing up with that narrative all my life, like it's not something I can just like step away from. It's just like it's technically in my DNA, because it's been like this since the dawn of time.
Yeah,
it's not like, and I'm not like being like, I don't think I'm being like I'm joking around, or I'm over exaggerating here, but I think like since the dawn of time, the man has been known to be the man, or the person to take care of the family, do the work and take care, get the job, or do the job rather, and then bring home the money, and then the wife would do the cooking and taking care of the children. It's just that with all these new and with everything or North America wise, everything going more liberal, whereas people are more comfortable with their wives making more money than them. I mean, I guess for some people who may feel that they're more comfortable, is it a sign of laziness, or is it a sign of, or do they really feel like they are comfortable with it? Like, is this person actually working towards like their goals? Like, are they actually doing a job that they love? And then, or is it just like, okay, I'm just going to do this job because I don't have to do too much because my wife is working? And because there has to be something. I know for me as a man, me personally, if my wife made more than me, I would be happy for her, but at the same time, my manhood would kind of take a hit from it. not to sound, you know, I don't mean to come across as misogynistic or anything. It's just, you see what I mean? It's just,
I don't want to sit there and say that, like, Carlos, you're wrong in any aspect, because I think that you brought up a wonderful point, and I'm sure that a lot of the people who happen to be listening feel that way. I think that they feel that way where they grew up probably seeing that standard their whole lives, reading about it. Like, even when we're learning in our history classes about like cavemen and stuff like that, you hear about, oh, the men did all the gathering and the hunting and all that kind of stuff, and then majority of the women did more of like the caregiving and like making the safe space at home and stuff like that. Even though, just to kind of throw in there, I have heard of like research where they found, uh like cave people at that point in time where women did actually hunt as well, and they found evidence of that as well. It's definitely not as predominant as it was, I don't think, with like the male species in that kind of point in time, but it wasn't 100%, I would say. And I think we're still kind of learning about our history as we go, and I think that, like you said, because of the precedent that we've kind of grown into, and it's only up until recent, like realistically, like women weren't looked at as breadwinners at all up until maybe about the 90s, like late 90s, I would say, and then even if it was a little bit before that, before our time, before we happened to be born, it's kind of like it was still slowly getting there. And then even now, it's like you said, predominantly still the same way that we always thought it was, but now in North America it's a little bit more open. So I think that getting rid of that standard that we had just because we've known it all of our lives, it's definitely a difficult thing. And I don't think that you're wrong in any sort of case to think that way, because that's how human beings are. I think that you have a precedent in your life, and when it comes to anything in the world, you have a precedent in your life, and it's always been like that, and it's hard to kind of get away from sometimes. A lot of aspects in life. So I don't think you're wrong whatsoever. So I hope that, just a disclaimer, we probably should have said this before at the episode. We're not trying to be misogynistic whatsoever. We're not talking about, these gender roles fit exactly the mold and this is the only way and the right way and how it should be. We're really just having what?
Wait, what?
I was gonna say that.
Hold up. Stop the goddamn recording. What the fuck? No, I'm kidding. I'm just teasing.
But yeah, I think in that case, it's really just an open conversation about, how we feel, what we do feel. If there's anybody out there that can argue with us about it in this case, and it's like we bring up maybe bad points and you'd like to argue, it's like, please let us know, hit us up, or
we're talking to the feminist. All of you. You want smoke? Go ahead.
But in this case, so Carlos, I guess one of the first questions, because I do want to kind of get back into our history a little bit. So as a young kid, like growing up in, the mean streets of Jane and Finch, but growing up in the household that you happen to fall into, do you feel like your parents had a huge, role in placing that dad is the breadwinner, mom is the more of the caregiver type of lifestyle? Like, do you think it's due to your parents?
Not gonna lie, when you said giver, got nervous when you started there. All right, let's see. So I know that, well, here's the deal. My parents come from Ghana, West Africa. I've said too much, FBI. If you're on it, you go ahead. So, where they come from, that is very much predominant. Like, it's very much the lifestyle there. The man is the worker, the woman is the caregiver. And so bringing that ideology here, I never had that discussion with my father about being a man and whatnot. It's just something that he did. Like, he would always work. My mom's, work too, because we had to afford to where we lived in the past. But my dad always, he worked longer hours, probably double jobs too. And, he provided for as much as he could, working OT to provide for the family. My mom, she worked during the day roughly. But the idea was that like it wasn't even something that had to be discussed. It was just shown that like my dad would pay the bills, my dad would take care of this, my dad would buy practically everything for the household to ensure that, you know, his family is taken care of, because that's his job. That's how he was raised, and that's how he will, and he wants to instill that into me and my brother.
Mhm.
So, you know, yeah, so it wasn't necessarily a discussion per se. It was more so like a, you know,
Kinda,
yeah, it was just like
I
you know,
see,
yeah,
I
just
do
like
kind of thing,
see, yeah, monkey see, monkey do type of thing. No racial. And then you know, and yeah, stuff like that. Because like my dad, he worked a lot, so like it was not rare that I saw him, but like it was like I would see him like for a few hours at night, and then so I was a lot closer with my mom. So when what she was done work, she picked me up from, you know, either daycare or from school, and then, you know, we'd go home, she'd make me food, and then I'd be on my way to bed. But yeah, that's basically the idea of manhood when I was growing up. But you know, learning obviously as you grow up, going to school and whatnot, you know, what seeing, you know, we us boys being boys, you know, pulling all that, you know, wild shit that we do, and then you know, going to
that wild boy shit,
yeah, you know
man.
what I'm saying? And then you know, hitting on the women and shit. It's just, yeah, just you know, and then as even now, just as an adult, it's very much prominent as to, I don't have a girl right now, but I'm just saying like, you know, I am working, and I'm like paying my own bills and shit. I don't have my parents paying their only job is to provide the roof over my head. I'm taking care of everything else on my own. And so you know, instilling that knowledge from my, you know, that using that knowledge from what my dad did to being the, you know, breadwinner of the family is you know, yeah, I'm rambling on too much. Go ahead.
I don't think you're rambling on. I think that you bring up, you know, great points. I think that the first thing would have been that I wanted to talk about was discussion. It's like I feel like as a younger, like the younger generation will be like millennials. Is that what we are?
Yeah.
Okay, so millennials, I felt like we were part of a generation where we got to see, especially if you're, you know, your parents were the first immigrants on like, you know, Canada or North America, whatever like that.
Yeah.
You get to see kind of like the old school style of what they would have brought over from their country and how they instill it into your kids. And then the content discussion was just kind of like you said, like I see it, I do it, this is just how it's supposed to be, and I take that from my parents or I take that from my dad, and this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't see anything specifically wrong with that, but then now, because the world is sort of shifting and changing as we go kind of thing, and it's like I feel like a lot of the values that we probably took in as we were younger just to kind of see our fathers do it is now not the norm as much as it used to be, kind of thing, just in this area of like, you know, space kind of thing, or wherever we are geographically. And it's like, are you open to kind of this new liberal, I'm just going to say liberal, I don't mean to offend it, but liberal wave of like the standard of like the household, like the man not always being the breadwinner? Like, are you open to that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm more open to the idea, like if this hypothetical wife of mine were to, you know, get a job, a higher paying job than I would, then I'd be, you know, it like obviously it'd be a step by step thing, but I think I'd be open to it. I wouldn't be ignorant enough to be like, oh, you can't do that job. Like I would want my wife to be happy. I mean, I don't, you know, it's this whole liberal thing of, you know, women doing stuff, and dude, like we're all human at the end of the day. You got to do it to make you know, you got to do what you got to do to make yourself happy. And I think, you know, these roles, I don't even know who made up these roles. Like, is it really in our DNA at the end of the day? I know I said earlier that, you know, it was implanted, but who really knows, really, you know what I mean? I'm more open to it. You know, this idea of you know, partners, working together, because I feel like that's a marriage at the end of the day. Some people might see it as the man doing this and the woman doing that, but I feel like it's a partnership more so.
But we grew up on the basis that like marriage was that kind of,
right,
like in
for
that.
Sure.
And I'm sure that, some of our users and some of our listeners that happen to be listening at this point in time, I think that you would share the exact same thing. Like growing up, if you are, in and around anywhere from probably, 25 to 40 years old and watching your parents sort of work in North America, I think that you share that aspect with us. And it's not as if it's a bad thing, I would like to say, because I'm sure that there's people out there that probably want to argue that, no, we should be more open. You shouldn't have that kind of standard in your head. People are allowed to kind of just have openness and do whatever the hell they want, like we said earlier. And there can be that inequality of like, no matter what gender is making more money or bringing in and getting work done inside the house kind of thing. And the problem is, like, I almost want to sit here and argue against the standard, but it's like, even growing up in my own household, watching movies, all that kind of stuff, it instills into you that it's like, this is the way. Even like old 90s movies, that still was the way. In all of like the crazy like family movies and comedies and stuff like that, it was still like the male predominantly does what all the work in the house or whatever like that, and then the house happens to be the housewife kind of thing.
Fresh Prince.
Yeah, like it was just some of the things that we grew up on, even in the 90s. Like that's why I say it's really late. It's only up until maybe after 2010, it seems like that it really just started coming out and like being a little bit more exposed in that case.
Progressive.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think one of the questions that I had for you, Carlos, coming into this episode was, the expectation, because we grew up as a kid, you're in grade school and like you're looking at your parents and you're kind of shaping into what you think like each role should be doing in the family and stuff like that. I do want to talk about like public school and like middle school and like grade 8, grade 7. What, if you can think about it, what did you think what we were supposed to be doing as boys or as like males at that point in time? Like
what we were supposed to be doing?
Yeah, like the expectations of what we were supposed to be.
Boys, we did exactly what we were supposed to do. Pick our noses and fucking play red ass and fucking, I think that's what we were supposed to do. You know what I mean? We just fucking do wild shit. We just like going through the phase of, gaining more testosterone and playing sports and, using our energy to fucking attract women and shit. And, but at the meantime, not giving into that weakness, because we're men, we shouldn't be all sappy and talking to these women and shit. We know we're not ready for relationships. We're just kids. It's just, we did just that. We did our part. And now, we're grown ass men, and we're the exact opposite. We have not the opposite per se. We still got the testosterone when we need it, but I feel like we definitely do our part to try to attract the women, because now manhood is because back then manhood was fucking being tough and playing sports and doing what you can to look manly and buff for everybody. But now it's more so of, can I provide, what can I do for the relationship, you know what I mean, what what will the kids look up to, and yada yada yada. I think we did our part. I don't think there's anything anything else we could have done. Like, I'm not gonna be a fucking kid and think about my job and shit. Bro, I'm still fucked up for what happened last week on Digimon and shit. And I'm supposed to be thinking about a job that, like, said, fuck all that. You're a kid. Be a kid. Don't worry about that shit until, the time comes. And you'll know when the time comes.
I think, like, to reflect back in, like, public school and to really think of, like, what I thought my expectations were supposed to be and who the person I thought I was supposed to be, I think it changed a lot as soon as I got to reflect on myself as an older individual. Because as a young kind of like boy, dumb as
Kind
fuck.
of like boy.
Well, boy,
you were a boy.
well, boy, like in grade school, whatever, like that. I was a huge bully. Like, I used to just like make fun of anybody that I
You were
wanted
a
to
bit
make
of a
fun
dick
of.
to
Yeah,
me.
I was a huge dick. Honestly, I'm not gonna front. I emphasize sports. I emphasize strength, looks, kissing girls, all of the stuff that now that I'm older and I get to like have like retrospective on and like really think about, I'm like, how ridiculous.
You could have been canceled. You could be canceled.
I'm 100% with you. They should have
If we
canceled
make
me.
it big,
They
and they
should
hear
have
about the
canceled me
shit.
back in grade 3.
If they hear about the shit you pulled, you'd be canceled.
They should have canceled me fucking way
Wow.
longer ago. I'm telling you.
Damn, Ryan.
And I think that that's the crazy thing that I'm happening to go through in relation to the expectation of what like men are supposed to be at this point in time, and like what I thought I was going to be growing up. It's been like two totally different things. You know, I used to think, yeah, it's like I want to be the person that provides. I want to be the person that fixes the car. I want to be the person that has to mow the grass, shovel the snow, construction type dude, fucking whatever it was, to be able to do well, to make myself like feel better about being like a man's man kind of thing. You know, hammer, fucking nail, wood, like that kind of shit. And then like now that I'm older, like my views totally changed on it now. It's like I don't.
You've seen the light.
I guess.
Really?
I guess it is. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm definitely a lot happier.
Viewpoint? So what's your viewpoints on jobs now? Like, do you?
I think it's anything.
Anything.
I think I've gone way liberal in relation to like the aspect and like the standard. Like the standard is not fully out of the window. I'm not going to sit there and lie and think that I still don't have like that systematic standard that has been brought into me like my whole life. But I'm way more open in relation to like, you know, who makes more money, who brings in what, who gets things done. Fucking, yo, give me mat leave kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take care of the kid, like that kind of shit. It's like, I'm 100% more open for that kind of things because I kind of understand that it's like, man, it's not only the men that need that or need to be that individual. I'm sure there's tons of like caregiving men out there that are just great at being a home, stay-at-home dad kind of thing, right? Like,
they're called cowards. Here's the deal. If you're a man and you have to stay at home, shame on you. But do you like here's the you know what, let's do it's interesting that you brought it up. Like the whole idea of mat leave. Do you really want to be the guy to go on mat leave even though your girl went through all that trouble of carrying the child for 9 months?
Yeah,
that's hard. That is not giving birth. I've seen videos.
No, hell no.
That is fucking painful.
Well, I don't know.
I'm so
but
have you seen video?
Oh, I've seen videos of it, but
it looks awful.
But I can't feel that pain. Like I don't know what they go through. I can't imagine fucking
it looks insane. You don't have to feel it to know the pain. You can just see it and be like, fuck, that looks awful. So all I'm saying is, for those of you who are men and are on mat leave and shit, come on. But it's just like 9 months of carrying a child of, you know, just walking, wobbling like the penguin and shit, and then fucking, you know, cramps and dealing with all kinds of shit, and then the actual process of giving a birth. Give the woman that break. You gotta go on that mat leave.
The thing,
please.
So the one thing about like and how like Canada has gotten more liberal in relation to like legislation and like allowing, like I know in Quebec, one of my buddies had a kid and he got like 2 weeks off from the government. The government was like, yo, you're allowed to, I think it was like even a month or something like that. So mat leave excluded. He got to take off a month. It's like, this is your like as a father mat leave kind of thing. But then I've also met women that, you know, they have the kid and then a week later they're literally back on the fucking horse, like going back to work and doing whatever they need to do. And whether, you know, you're working your 9 to 5 or your 9 to 9 kind of thing. And there's some women out there that are so fucking strong and like willing to go back to work and then just know like this is where they're supposed to be, even though they just have genetically, I'm the body to have a kid. Yeah, I have the kid, but then it's like, I want to go back to work. You know what I mean? Like
maybe they don't love the kid enough. Maybe that's it. I saw the
Maybe,
kid.
man.
I'm sick of
Maybe.
the kid. I don't want to be here. I'm going to go back to work.
And
That's
it's like it's like how can we take away from that? Because I'm really just trying to think about like we said, we talked about what's best for the partnership now. It's not about what's best for, you know, the mother or the kid, like whether it's like having the mother there all the time or having the father there all the time. It's like, man, whoever's personality trait is more suitable for that role in itself now. And I think that's what's like sort of changing my mind go forward. It's weird, man. It's a really weird kind of aspect that like just having like sort of self-reflection over the last couple of years and being like, man, I can't believe we're just throwing all of my molds that I've had since 92 out the window. But then like now that I really think about it and I get to meet some people that I've actually been through it, it's like it makes sense. It makes sense to me now. So
I hear you.
I don't know.
Question for you. Is being a gentleman a man? Is being a gentleman a man?
No.
Ooh.
I don't think so. I think being a gentleman is like a male biased word. But I it's like you don't really hear people saying, "Oh, that woman was a real gentleman."
You don't hear that? Oh, gentle. Oh, okay.
Like a gentleman.
Yeah.
Or a general, like the aspect or the characteristic of a gentleman. You don't hear women say that, but women can have gentleman like. What is there a word for calling a woman a gentleman?
A boss ass bitch. A boss ass bitch. Like, oh, she paid the bill for the dinner that night. That was a boss ass bitch. Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
That's the thing.
You're a
I
boss
don't know,
ass
man.
No, just because I agree with you in terms of the gentleman being a man. Here's the deal. I feel like a gentleman, the idea of the gentleman fits into the description of what the woman want in a man. Whereas the man, I see a man being a man, women disgusted by that, but needing that. You see what I'm saying? Because women naturally need protection, and they need, because I'm just basing off of research that I'm reading here. I'm not gonna quote any scientists because I don't do deep dive into the research. Sorry, if you want to do that, listen to some other fucking podcast. But I mean, like, women naturally are attracted to men who are considered douche. Well, I wouldn't say douchebag, dicks, because dicks are tough, or can be tough. Dicks are seen as protectors. Dicks provide for the house, and they have this ideology of like, I got this, woman. You sit there, all me. So now women may not like, most women may not like that because they see him as, ugh, why am I attracted to this dude? But at the same time, they're just like, he does his job as a man of the house. He pays the bills. He takes care, he's there for the kids. He takes care of me. He's a dick, but he does his job. Whereas gentlemen, on the other hand, they're nice to open doors for you. They're nice to pay the bill for the dinner, treat you nice, compliment you from time to time. I feel like gentlemen are temporary, whereas the man is forever. That's my take on it. Hot take. Might piss off a few women on that take, but
I think that's a great conversation starter. I would love to hear anybody's opinion on that in itself, because I think that topic in itself is controversial enough, but understanding enough to know where it comes from and where it stems from.
Yeah.
One of the questions I have for you is that can it only be one or the other?
A gentleman versus a man?
Yeah. Or a gentleman versus a dick?
Let's say douche. Because they all have dicks.
Okay. So like the douchebag man, I guess in this case, like the role that you've created to be like, this is the provider. Yeah, his personality is a little more aggressive, but like, can it be intertwined at all, or is it really just one or the other. Like a guy can't be both.
Well, no, I think that a guy can be both. I mean, look at you. Here's the deal. For those of you who don't know, Ryan Missan, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, kind guy, does all the part, can be a dick sometimes, but overall, a bit of an intertwine. I think you can have the characteristics of one and then of the other, and you can definitely intertwine. But I do feel like at the end of the day, you're gonna have more characteristics of one of the categories than the other. 100%. It's just who you are. Like it's who shows the most. Most of the time, you're gonna be a dick. I'm not talking about you right now. I'm just in general. Just most of the time, I feel like you're gonna be a dick because it's the negative traits that stand out the most in anything, regardless of being a man or fucking a sociopath or yada 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 yada. The negative traits stand out the most. So you can have two things that make you a dick, and then all these things that make you a gentleman. 9 times out of 10, they remember the times you're being a dick and the times you're being nice for them. I feel.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So, I don't know. It's I think you can have traits of both, but it's the one side that will stand out the most versus the other.
So in this case, and this is going to be a controversial question.
Go for it. I love it.
Is it on the men to better ourselves to make those two individuals into one? Because we have the ability to recognize it. Like we're being conscious beings right now, recognizing that there's two aspects of the individual that would make, I guess in this case, the perfect individual. But then yet men still only allow ourselves to be realistically one or the other at the end of the day.
Right.
Or is it up to women to figure it out and be like, yo, you guys need to pick better people? It's like,
yikes.
And I think that's the controversial part. It's like, because I'm not going to sit here and say that either one is right. That's not what it is. Humanity, we're full of flaws. We all stem from the same branch kind of thing. Like we all have flaws. There's no perfect person, whether you're a man or a woman or transgendered, whatever you may happen to be, you're not fucking perfect.
Right.
I'll tell you that right now.
You ain't shit.
Yeah, you ain't shit.
There it is.
And in that case, it's kind of like, now that we're smart enough as individuals and human beings to understand like these like stigmas and like these like concrete molds that we thought of aren't always right anymore. It's like us as human beings, do we need to do a better job of bettering ourselves, or do we just leave it how it is in relation to like, it's like you either are a fucking great gentleman, but you ain't shit provider, vice versa. And then for women, it's like you want a nice guy, but you're gonna go for the dick anyway. So it's like, where is the right and wrong if we were to put something? It's like what do you think about that question?
Here's the deal. In men being the way that they are, whether it being a dick or a gentleman, it's that's their lifestyle, that's how they live. And people don't ever want to get out of their comfort zone for a reason, because they're fearful of what would happen if they did. I feel like it's the woman's job to really bring them back to or to notch down their ego. Bring the guy down. I feel like women could be like, hey, you're being a dick, relax. Or can you not do that? I'm not in the mood right now. Shit like that. I think it's a woman's job to really, and vice versa for men to women. I feel, it's like, hey, can you help out with this? I know you're busy doing something. Can you help me out with this? Or no, chill. I got this. I feel like women are that partner to really, tell us our flaws, to be really honest, because like I think we're not vulnerable with other, like, guys are just, we don't want to look vulnerable for other guys because they see that as weakness, and then they'll just attack. It's human nature, or it's just nature in general. That's how you do it, whether it be physical or psychological. You know what I mean? Once you're vulnerable and the other person has the opportunity to attack, they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel like women are the type to just like to really hold us down, to bring us down a few pegs, and to make us realize that, like, look, you're doing too much. You're a nice gentleman and all, but you're doing too much. Please allow me. Or, hey, that was a dick move on your part. You know what I'm saying? Relax. Take it easy. That's how I feel on it. Yeah, I think that just humans in general, we just depend. You can always say like, oh, I'm gonna better myself by doing this, this, and this. But I think that without other humans, you cannot really get anywhere, whether it be on a something to better yourself personally, or whether to, achieve a goal that you have. Just you need to depend on others in general. Yeah, that's my answer to that question. Fill that blank in, bitch. What's your take on it? Do you feel that
I think that, and I think the opposite. I think that human beings with like the fucking brain power and the amount of like shit that's going on up in here,
Mhm.
for the individuals that have stable minds and the people who happen to kind of like, unfortunately have to suffer from like mental illness, probably or can't self-reflect as much as like a regular person would be,
Mhm.
or be able to.
Mhm.
But I think that one of the greatest things about human beings is that we have the constant self-reflection and learning from your mistakes and things like that, and just kind of overthinking about certain situations. Like our memories are great. We can look at a situation or remember a situation that we did from 15 years ago, and then look at it and be like, maybe I could have done better in that specific situation. It might not even have to be from somebody saying, yo, you were a dick 15 years ago, or like being like, yo, you handled that wrong, kind of thing. I think it's kind of like you make a decision even though you're still living and the decision was made at that point in time and you thought it was the right decision at the time. I think that self-reflection for human beings, whether you're male or female, especially for males, because I'm a male and I resonate with it more, that self-reflection is the solution to pretty much any fucking problem. So I think that guys really should do a better job of looking at themselves in the mirror and being like, yo, you need to fix your shit. Like, you need to stop thinking that there's two different aspects when you can realistically be the perfect both, like the combined both. I think that's a huge aspect, and I think that's attractive. And if we're going to talk about the attractiveness to women, I think that's attractive, because I think that's who I would be attracted to.
For men
And women. But I think that it's up to like my partner, or the person that I happen to choose, or like my girlfriend. It's like for her to be able to be self-reflective and like try to be the perfect person by having both aspects. If we are going to be separating those, from one to be like the gentlewoman and then the boss ass bitch kind of thing, it's like you have to have the aspects of both to be able to be the most perfect person that you potentially can be. And I know that we said that, we're all not perfect and we are imperfect and we have our flaws and whatnot.
That's right.
It is the strive, it is the goal, it is the person that you want to be, and you try to be the best person you can be with all of the aspects that are going to be good in life. So I think that it's really up to us. I think that we can sit here and look in the mirror and be like, yo, I'm a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, all the times, like when I used to bully kids way back when, it was kind of like the outcome always came out in my favor. I'm not gonna lie, it did, because I ended up with like the friends, or the bigger ego, or like the win in like the conflict. But then yet I can come back to myself and be like, hey, I did something wrong back then. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have acted that way. I know how egotistical that sounds.
I'm not gonna lie, that was. Oof.
But I don't know. I've never, like, and I hate to say that, but it's just like every social situation that I had as a kid, having those expectations to be the person that I thought I was supposed to be, whether it was the bully, the higher testosterone, the, not to get too much into like internet talk, but like the alpha, in relation to like every other person out there, realistically, it always worked because those are the stupid expectations I had in my lifetime. But then now that I'm older and I realize what I did, it wasn't because somebody told me I was doing shitty. It was kind of like, man, I was a shitty fucking person. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have wanted to go through that myself. Why would I put that on somebody else? And I think that that was the biggest kind of shocker for me in relation to like, what as a man, what are you supposed to be doing in life, and like your expectations of women and stuff like that. It's like all of that was just like self-reflective concepts of, you know, that maybe these molds that I have in my lifetime aren't the right molds. And even if they are the right molds, then I've gotten rid of them.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know, man. It's like it's a weird kind of thing. It's like I'm a lot more liberal now, and I feel like I'm a lot more of a nice person. So as opposed to back then, and I'm sure you can vouch for that.
Oh, Jesus. Cue in the old people from back in public school.
Fuck you, Ryan.
Ryan is a dick. Ryan ruined my life. Ryan ruined my life.
Funny, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Ah.
It was not.
What was the worst thing you think you've done?
I don't know, man.
Don't say that. You just don't want to say
I've definitely, and I hate to say it, but I've definitely like ruined a couple of kids' social lives. Like they either were very lonely after the event and didn't have many friends, or they had to be socially isolated and then started like acting out in other ways. Yeah, and they just kind of like lost socially in that immature aspect of like public school. And I hate to say that, but it's like that's what it was back in high school. I thought everything was a fight, or back in grade school, I thought everything was like a Street Fighter fight,
oh my God.
Ryu versus Ken fucking kind of thing. And I'm like, yo, it's me versus this person. Who's gonna come out and winning in this situation? And I felt the person that had more friends or more of like the social aspect and like kept going consistently with my own lifestyle, those were the winners in life. But then talking about it out loud, I realized that I'm probably the one that lost.
What did you do?
Oh, well,
What
you know, I ain't
say why. Jesus.
Oh, well,
this guy's thinking you're worried about canceling.
No, I've definitely like.
What was the? Because I know for me, one of the bad things I pantsed a girl back in grade 7, which was like not cool. Yeah. So that was like a dick move on my part. But again, this is just. It wasn't like I did not like her or anything. It's just like I did it because I wanted the attention of my peers and like to be obviously to climb up the ranks in terms of being the man and whatnot. It's just a shitty way of doing it. Like obviously, nowadays, like even nowadays, it's still pretty relevant. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't say nowadays with this pandemic era, I have no clue how the fuck. But I meant in terms of social media, picking on people online and shit. On those unfortunate lives that were lost due to suicide, due to cyberbullying and shit. It's shitty. It's that's how it's a sad way to think about how growing up works. But you need, at the end of the day, when you're that young and you have when there's no employment and you're not really doing well, like in school itself, you need other ways to feel dominant in school. You have to have a reason to go to school, right? So I feel like that in the workplace as well. You gotta have that dominance. You have to have a reason to go to work, or else you'll just hate your job. And so whether it be you're the best at the job itself, or whether it be when you have that role as like either the jokester or the cool one, or whether it be at work or at school, if you don't have a role defined, then you're just going to end up like those socially outcasted people that you mentioned earlier. So yeah, man, that's one of the things I've done. I've done a few things. I mean, do you want to explain what you did?
Well,
What did you do?
Well, in a nutshell, like Carlos and I used to both have a common friend, and then unfortunately throughout like grade 7, we like
Oh,
I pretty much convinced the whole grade against this kid to the point where he had no friends going through like I think like grade 8 pretty much. And the thing about grade 8, and for anybody who's been to grade 8 in North America, it's probably one of the bigger years of your lifetime. You're graduating from a
13,
your
14.
middle school, you're going through puberty, you have all these fucking chemicals loading up, and you're learning about all kinds of different things and trying a bunch of different things. And I think that that's where those unrealistic expectations came in during that time. I felt like it was necessary for me to be able to quote unquote win in these social situations from unrealistic aspects, to be able to ruin some kid's life, like during probably one of the greatest times that I've ever had of my life. Like 13 was great.
Did you really have to put that far?
But I just mean like
Jesus Christ.
I just mean like the age, like literally that. I always say that 13, you know how they say like the champagne year of like your always one of the best years of your life.
Sure.
So I was born on the 13th. 13, I can honestly say, was probably one of the most fun years I've ever had in my entire life. Just having fun, playing basketball, hanging out with friends, learning a whole bunch of different things like this and that, discovering the world, discovering who I was as a person at that point in time. And I happened to ruin it for another kid that happened to be my age.
Now, what was this over again?
Well, he was trying to take my girlfriend.
Your girl. So you mean, so hold on. Let's hold the phone now. Let's talk about this, because what you're telling me is you, being the dick that you were back then, asserted your dominance by ensuring that that man would never go to your girl again. That is that side of being a man. Manhood.
I do not believe that.
That was, well, that back then, that was your definition.
Yeah, of course.
Of being a man.
But I think in retrospect, that was the wrong way to look at it. That was the wrong way to do it, because me and my girlfriend's relationship was strong enough that I knew she wasn't going to leave in the first place. So for me to even give that guy the time of day already shows how immature I was, and the unrealistic expectation of what I thought of myself. And for me to act out in a way that I had to ruin this kid's life for a whole year during one of the most social years that you're going to have as a kid. The fact
that you're describing it.
I'm telling you, man.
Makes it much worse for you.
I'm telling you.
Much worse.
But 100%.
Yeah.
Like 100%. So that's why I feel fucking terrible about it. But like, I should have had more confidence in myself to know that my girlfriend wasn't going nowhere. She never did. And like, there was no reason for me to try and win against somebody that didn't really deserve my time of day.
So what you're saying is that you feel you were weak-minded. You weren't being a man. Well, now, in retrospect.
Yes.
You feel like I was
definitely weak-minded back then, yes.
But back then, your manhood was challenged. You had no choice.
Yeah, but in retrospect...
No,
like,
let's talk about...
It wasn't being challenged, though.
Back then, you felt it was.
Oh, I did. But in retrospect, it really wasn't. That's the self-reflection part.
Well, yeah, because any man can see that situation and be like, I had no choice. He went after my girl. I have to do something. That is what people feel like. Some people would feel like you did the right thing because you were being a man.
Oh,
you were defending your like, woman.
Territory.
You were being territorial. Yes.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But in that specific situation, it wasn't as if I was losing my roof over my head or something like that.
Yes.
That's a little bit different.
Right.
But in retrospect, I still 100% agree I acted the wrong way due to unrealistic expectations, because there was no need to do that. There was no necessary need because there was no threat.
Well,
I felt like there was a threat at the time because of my immaturity and like the thought process of what I thought at that point in time. But I think in retrospect, to look at it now, that was definitely immaturity on my part. And I'm the one who realistically lost that situation because I gave my time of day to something that I shouldn't have given to. That's the way I look at it. And I think that's what the realistic is, not even manhood anymore, but it's just to be a good human being. Like, that's my like end all be all, I would say. You know?
Interesting.
That's just me.
Interesting. Well, I mean, if I look about it too, like, yeah, sure, that was a dick move. At the same time, it's like you were a kid,
Yeah.
so I mean, don't be too hard on yourself.
Oh no.
But at the same time,
I'm sure he's got friends now. Hope you're doing well. EP, man.
Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus.
Oh my God.
But I mean, again, this is just going back to being you territorial. This is, that's the definition of the man.
Yeah.
It's not paying the bills or, paying for dinner, but your woman was being, in your eyes, being attacked. And you did everything in your power to ensure that that problem had to go away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so let's talk about that then. Let's talk about the fact that, is it the whole being a dick, if you will. You saw your woman being attacked and you went out of your way to prevent anybody getting in between what you and your girl at the time had.
Yeah.
So my thing is, whether it be, I don't know, picking on this person that got in between you and your girl, or even now in the future, I don't know, what's an example of a way of someone intervening between you? What would you do hypothetically, like now, like what would you do hypothetically speaking if someone were to get in between your relationship right now?
I would talk to my partner. That person.
Would you ask them questions like, oh, how close is he, or like?
No, it would be like, hey, this is how I feel about the situation, but like if I know that there's nothing there, then I don't have to worry about it. Then I don't.
Would you feel like you're pulling a dick move by doing that, or
no? Like the dick move would be to go after the dude or the person that's trying to get in between.
Go after in what way? As in introducing yourself, or as in
step off? And that's exactly what I did. And I think that's what a lot of like a natural aspect or a natural feel in relation to like property, in relation to territorialism, like in relation to like possession. Like I think that the natural like sort of reaction to something like that is like things like jealousy, things like, greed, like vulnerability, all of that kind of stuff comes into play. And I think that majority of guys, at least from like what I've seen and who I've known, that's the automatic reaction is to be the dick move. But just by like having confidence and knowing that like there's nothing going to happen because you're that confident in like what's going on with your own self, that there's no risk. There's no reason for me to be a dick. You know what I mean?
So when do you know it's considered weakness versus being a man? You see what I mean? Because obviously back then you feel like it was weakness when you told homeboy to step off.
Yeah.
But then if you were to talk to your girl, well, I mean, in your life now, if you were to talk to your girl about a dude that she might be friendly with, like, where do you consider that weakness? Like, is there like type of questions that you would ask to be like, hey, how you doing? How close are you with him? Versus, who's this guy? And like, where do you consider weakness?
I only think it would be weakness is if I were to react naturally to like the natural reaction directed towards the threat of what's going on with your life. I think the communication between you and your partner, and this is not like, I guess we're talking about relationship advice now, but it's like the communication that you have with your partner, if you guys are on great terms and there's no threat and can never be a threat to that relationship, then it's like there's no reason for you to have that natural response that there is a threat, because realistically there shouldn't be,
right?
And there probably isn't. You know what I mean? But in this case, it's kind of like, because at the time I was an immature kid, and then I allowed my natural reaction to get the best of me. I lost like my own confidence in myself, and to to almost think that, yeah, my relationship's being vulnerable if I allow this situation to happen, but really it wasn't. And that's just me should have having confidence in myself as a human being and confidence in my relationship. That's the way I look at it. And it really comes it's in retrospect. I think that it's hard to be able to realize it on the fly, because I think that the natural,
well, especially at that age, you're not gonna be like, oh no, I mean, like, it's you know, especially in school where social statuses are at its peak.
Yeah, you
have that status of, okay, I have the girlfriend, I'm an athlete, I need to keep this status.
Yeah.
Whereas in adulthood, you don't that's not really as important anymore.
Not at all.
Right. But back then it's like, fuck, I need to keep the status. This dude's in, touching, he's talking, not touching. No touching was done. He was, he's talking to my, oh, Jesus. He's talking to my girl. He's getting in the way of what I got. Fuck that. That's not going to happen. My manhood is not going to be in question. Dominance will prevail. And that's how we talked in the hallway back then. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I have to go to calculus right now. What the fuck? But I mean, yeah, just like, I mean, at the end of the day, you felt like you asserted your dominance. People would feel like that. I mean, you're a kid, so I feel like that's what you did at the time. You asserted your dominance. You're like, hey, I don't like you talking to my girl. If my girl says hi, you fucking go blind and walk the other way. That's it. And what else could you have done? Well, I mean, you could have not done that, but at the end of the day, you're a kid. You know what I mean? That's testosterone flowing. You got you're in a relationship. You wanted to protect with what you got, and it was the perfect time for immaturity.
And I agree with you 100%. But I think that the mold that we've had since we were kids, seeing, the parentals, like all of the shows, all of the movies, entertainment, hunter-gatherer, fucking this and that, all of that built the stigma and the mold to the way that I thought I was supposed to react. And then now that in retrospect, when I look back at myself and being like, Ryan, every single time that you've ever naturally reacted to a situation without really thinking the full situation through, I feel like I've always lost in life in retrospect. Even though during that time, it was perfectly fine to react the way that I did. There was no repercussions socially. I'm still alive, so there's no threat to my life at that point in time. But now in retrospect, it's kind of like, Ryan, you lost as an individual because of these molds that you happen to have.
You think so?
I think so.
You think that?
I think so.
I
think there's better ways to handle those expectations as a male. Like, I think that me and him would have been boys. We would have had fun times throughout our whole fucking lifestyle. I'd still be boys with him today, potentially. And that gets ruined because of the immaturity, because of the natural reaction that I happen to have, because of what I thought I was right at that point in time. That stems from me being a kid and watching what a man is supposed to be doing. And I honestly think that it ruins a lot of guys. Like, if they don't self-reflect and kind of look at the wrongs and rights of what they're doing, kind of thing, you know what I mean? That's just me.
Well, I mean, what also makes a man is able to, learn from their mistakes and hone it in, and just, being able to not repeat it. You know what I mean? Not even a man, it makes you human.
Yeah.
And so, you learn that, like, hey, look, that manhood, the machismo moment I had back in school, that was not cool. Obviously, you don't do that shit now. Well, that is until I ditch you when I become a superstar, and then you talk shit about me.
Bring this motherfucker down.
It's like, bro, that dude fucking eats ass. I'm like, wait, what? No, I don't. Who told you this?
Wait, what?
Fucking Ryan.
I come pantsy you with a tattoo that says I eat ass on my thigh.
it's for a movie. It's for a movie. Fuck. But yeah, just
I
like,
hire this girl to come out of the crowd. He ate my ass yesterday.
Oh, what the fuck? No, I didn't. Who are you with? Where's Ryan?
I'm like Sam inside
accepting a
of him.
speech. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to my family. I want to say thank you so much to everybody that. Wait, what are you doing? Why are you screaming? Hey, I don't need ass. Who told you that? What the fuck? My moment. That's it. And that's how you ruined my life. Assert your dominance 2.0. You never learned anything. You just assert dominance 2.0.
I went back. It's like, you know, the saying, when you start out in diapers and you end in diapers.
Yeah, man. History repeating itself.
That's pretty much the game.
God damn it, Ryan. Jesus. But yeah, dude, just like at the end of the day, you know, you made your mistakes. But at the same time, you used your man traits to assert your dominance. Some men might have actually stepped up and punched him in the face for what he did. I felt it was a bit mature. You took the way it was mature for you at a kid that age to do what he did.
Let's just cut this guy. Let's just pull the plug on this guy's social life so he can have no friends.
You know what I mean? It was
many years.
It was, you know. But I felt like, you know, you took a route that was obviously looking back, it's like, hey, that's a dick move. To be fair, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest off the record, I don't think he liked me too much. So I don't feel too sorry for him, but hope he's well, you know.
Yeah.
But other than that, just like, yeah, just don't feel too bad about it. You know, I know you didn't want to bring it up earlier because I was hesitant. You didn't want to look like, but I thought you were a kid. You were a kid.
No, you're right. It's definitely a good story in relation to, you know, my personal experience with like the expectations of what, you know, what we thought we were supposed to be in grade school, and like evidence in itself. Like me and Carlos are still boys from that era of having those expectations.
Well, because they all heard what you did, and now you have nobody else to talk to. And I stuck with you. I'm like, hey, he's my ride home. So fuck, man. But yeah,
it's I know that it's different for a lot of, like, I think every guy has their own kind of aspect on like what, you know, you think you're supposed to be doing, and like, you know, what you're supposed to be, and
how do you
act,
assert dominance?
How do you assert dominance? Is dominance even a factor in like your day-to-day life? Like, is that something that's important to you? And I think that we all have different views on it. Carlos and I would definitely love to hear anybody's fucking opinion on it. Shoot us an email, hit us a DM, because we would love to sit and conversate about it, because it's definitely an interesting topic in itself.
For sure. I feel like are we at the last
we're getting there. Yeah,
okay. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like asserting dominance not asserting dominance, sorry. Being a man rather is not necessarily, well, I've always known that you never harm others to ever try and be a man. I know that for a fact. So no violence towards your partner. That shouldn't ever be the case. No violence. Oh boy. Sorry. Jesus Christ. That was like a very bad dad joke. Oh my God.
Getting old, man. Getting old.
Jeez, that was uncomfortable.
No violence.
Oh my God. Yeah, but like, you know, some men do the whole domestic violence thing, which is never okay. That doesn't make you a man at all. That's real. That's pathetic in my eyes. That's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that just shows me that this dude literally has nothing left going on in his life. And, you know, this is the only way he can show that he is powerful over something.
Yeah.
That's in my take. You know, this person probably is a piece of shit at work who doesn't do anything, probably lost his job. You know, social life is basically non-existent since he's in a relationship. So the only way he asserts dominance is, and that should never, ever be the case. And to all you men out there that do that, fuck you. Try that shit on me. If you want to smoke, bitch, fucking You want to see that? I'll fucking end you, bitch. I'm Vince McMahon. You my Shane McMahon, bitch. I'll fire ass. I'll give you a Stone Cold Stunner, then I'll fire your ass, bitch. But yes, asserting dominance for men should be never attacking, but taking care to provide for others who need it most. Or as a just as the out of the kindness of your heart. If your woman is having a bad day, go offer her to watch Netflix, or take her out to a movie. 50% capacity. Or it doesn't even have to be relationship wise. Helping others, helping a friend. Offering your friend to go on Netflix or to take him out to a movie. Being a man is being true to yourself and helping others see life the way you do, through peace, love, and eating ass. That is being a man. Not harming others, but healing others. Food for thought. You take that in.
That was beautifully said.
Thank you.
So you got any other final
I
thoughts?
don't eat ass, right?
No, I know. Final thoughts?
I don't want you to. I want to go on record because I don't want you to use that shit against me. Final thoughts?
You got any final thoughts?
I just said mine.
On yeah.
Be a man. Healer.
What's that dude? I think he's on TikTok or YouTube where he says all that.
Oh, don't fuck it. Oh,
he'll say some outrageous shit.
Oh my god.
Be a man.
Yeah. Don't eat salad. Men don't eat salad. Be a man. Just don't unzip your pants to use a urinal. Pull the shit all the way down. Be a man. Good shit. That's a good page to follow for TikTok, for inspiration on how to be a man. Just go and do that. But yeah, please, do you have any final say or take?
I think that this episode was a great episode to kind of talk about. I think that it shows the differences just in personality between Carlos and I in relation to certain topics out there. And even though both me and him are the same age, we're both, men in this case, I would say, we have different aspects and different visions of what we envision as to what we're supposed to be doing and what we should have been doing at that point in time. I think, just in a couple of quick words, I think that a lot of the things that we thought we were supposed to be doing is still right. It's still the right way to look at it. And I'm not going to take away from that, but I feel like we definitely can do, as men and as women, humanity in itself, as a final thought, self-reflect. Definitely, I think there's a lot of pros to that. Realistically, you can take a look at yourself, try to fix what you're doing. Look back at specific situations, and like Carl said in an earlier point, it's like learning from your mistakes. I think it's a huge thing. So not for just men, but everybody out there that happens to be listening, self-reflection is definitely my end point in relation to our manhood episode, or our expectations of men.
Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said. I guess that's good. Tune in next week for the Valentine special. Lover boy here is really excited.
Yeah, should be a funny episode.
Yeah,
we're still trying to figure out the kinks of it, and
Speaking of kinks, we'll talk about that next week too. But yeah, Valentine's, man, it's gonna be something else. It's gonna be I'm not gonna say wild because we don't really know what we're doing yet. But we have ideas. We have ideas, and there'll be funny ideas for you and us, and we rather. Valentine's, can't wait. To all the women who are looking for a partner, I'm here, so hit me up on the blank 416. We'll line up and play your videos for any suggested partners. We'll play the dating game and whatnot. I'm kidding, don't do that. But yeah, tune in next week. We'll have fun. Anyway, I'm your host, Carlos.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is The Blank with Carlos and Ryan. We're available on Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever podcasts are available. And remember, just like that blank in the middle, fill it in. Suwu to the death of me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.